Okay folks, we're now on day 2. We've just left the hotel in Agadir and we are making our way to Marrakesh. It's over 300 kilometers to Marrakesh. We're hoping to get there around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're making a couple of stops on the way. Not actually sure where the first place we're stopping. More information when we get there, but we're on the road now, and it seems to be a bit warmer today than it was yesterday. It was actually very cold yesterday. I brought a mesh suit with me and the wind was just going straight through me. I was actually froze. I was expecting it to be very warm in Morocco this time of year, but when you're on the bike it's not. This is some... obviously don't pay any attention to roundabouts here. Just anyone the bigger car takes priority, obviously. It's the first time I've been stuck in the middle of a roundabout like this. Anyway, there's a lesson for you. If you're on the roundabout, watch out. Just a bit of a story for you while we're driving along. Last Saturday was April Fool's Day, and Gary decided it would be a good idea to send out a message to say that the bike hire crowd had asked us to go to Marrakesh instead of Agadir to pick up the bikes, which is a journey of about 300 kilometers or more, and we were flying into Agadir, so there was a lot of upset lads obviously, but after a lot of to and fro, we finally got to the bottom of it, that it was an April Fool's joke. But Gary had the message typed out as if it came from the bike hire crowd, and it began with the line, "Mr. Gary, can you go to Marrakesh to pick up the bikes?" And he made it look very real. He had all the phone numbers and addresses and everything else on it. But anyway, ever since that, when we arrived here in Agadir, Gary has been known as Mr. Gary, and I think it's going to stick with him for a long time as well. Jesus, look at the cattle on top of the lorry. Oh, shitty, Mac, look at that. So you take a ticket there, you don't actually pay. You must pay when you get off at the other end. So after going through the toll booth, we couldn't resist. We just had to pull in and take a couple of photos and a video of the cattle truck. And little did we know it wouldn't be the last kind of mad thing we'd see that day. There was plenty more to see when we got to Marrakesh. Unfortunately, we seem to have got a lot of motorway driving yesterday and again today. But anyway, look, it's the quickest way of getting places, I suppose. Especially when you're on a tight schedule, you're only here for a few days, you got to try and make the best of it. What do you say? Now this is one of these situations where you ask a question, but you don't hear the answer and you nod your head anyway. Bad idea in this case. You can see what happened afterwards. But anyway, look, the barrier came down. It just pulled the visor off my helmet. Didn't actually break it. I picked it up, pulled in on the other side of the road and clipped it back in. But another lesson learned. When you ask a question, make sure you hear the answer. It's a very barren countryside. Silage contractors wouldn't do any good out here. I don't think they'd make much money unless they were harvesting rocks. You can actually see the sand in the air. It must be coming in off the desert. Or the air just seems to be full of it. Now the Renault 18. A lot of Renault cars still on the road over here. How they managed to keep them going, I don't know. Obviously Renault built better cars back in the 80s than they do now. That's only an opinion. Young lads out tumming. I suppose they'd take a lift on a motorbike if they got it. These roads are a bit nicer now, nicer than being on the motorway. Nothing like a few twists and turns. I suppose one thing Morocco has in common with Ireland, in Ireland you can see the churches before you get into the towns, you can see the steeples from a good distance away. It's the same here, you can actually see the mosques before you get into the town as well. The mosques seem to be very well kept compared to the rest of the town. Everything else could do with a lick of paint. Seems to be an awful lot of these buildings that were just blocked, foundations poured and then blocked and then nothing else done with them. They were just left. They seem to be dotted all. Every town you come into, there seems to be lots of them that were never finished, whatever the hell that was all about. There mustn't be any shortage of concrete or blocks in this country. I don't actually know where we are. I don't know whether we're coming into Marrakesh or whether it's another town on the outskirts. In Ireland, a hybrid is a car that runs on electric and petrol. In Morocco, a hybrid is half a motorbike and half a pickup truck, and neither of them are environmentally friendly. So it actually was Marrakesh we were coming into. We arrived there early afternoon. We made better time than we thought we would. The only stop we made actually was at services to fill up with petrol, and we got a bit of lunch there as well, sat out in the sun. It was actually quite nice. But anyway, on arriving in Marrakesh, we stopped here. This guy had off-road parking. We decided to put the bikes in there. You know, when you're in a strange place, you don't want to leave them out in the street. I don't know whether they'll be safe or not. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But anyway, we paid for the off-road parking and headed on down the street.
Bye, city.
Now the rest of the lads had arrived at around the same time as us, and they found parking a bit further up the street. Now it's worth paying for the parking because you can leave your gear with the bikes as well, and it's safe enough. Once you pay for it, nobody will go near your gear anyway, and it was cheap. I think it was a fiver or less anyway. So after getting the bikes parked up, we went to get a bit to eat. Now if anywhere we ate in Morocco, it seemed to take them an hour or more to bring the food. I don't know whether that's to get you to buy more drink, water, coffee, whatever, or whether it's just that they prepare the food fresh. But anyway, be expecting to wait a while if you're going to sit down to get something to eat. But anyway, we headed on around the market then and had a look around, and it's you'll see it all there now. In fairness, it's like going back in time, but look, it's well worth seeing. You can see it there yourself. Anyway, I'll leave it playing there for a minute and you can have a look. never spot the tourists, would you, walking around the markets in Marrakesh? I'd say we stood out like sore thumbs. Anyway, after a couple of hours of looking around the city, we headed back to get the bikes and we're making our way back to the Airbnb we had booked for the night. Now, coming into Marrakesh was an experience, but on our way back to the Airbnb, I'd never seen anything like it in my life. I'm just going to play the footage now of us driving through the city on the way back to the B&B. You just got to see this to believe it. It's just absolutely bonkers to just come from every angle, front, back, side. I think your only hope is to try and keep up a little bit of speed because that'll eliminate lads coming from the back. But look, they're likely to come out of anywhere. There's scooters, mopeds, you name it. It's just a free-for-all basically. What in the name of God is going on here? Absolutely batshit crazy. My God. Survival of the fittest, I think. Oh my God. Talk about mad. Holy Jesus. It was just total anarchy making our way through that traffic, but look, if I'm honest, I really enjoyed it. It was just, it was kind of exhilarating. You're kind of on the edge there the whole time and watching everything. It's just, you know, when you're used to things running in a certain order and you just go into a situation like that where anything goes, it was, I enjoyed it anyway. But look, we made our way back into the city again. We were having trouble finding the Airbnb on Google Maps, so we pulled into this place here and this guy came over and offered to lead us down to where it was. Now he jumped on the back of a scooter with a friend of his and started leading us down side streets and alleyways. So anyway, off we went. Move it, pussycat. Where is this lad bringing us? My God. Oh. What up? Oh, couple lads here, ready to knock our f***ing heads off. Now, this didn't look very promising. This guy was after bringing us down a lot of alleyways. And to be honest with you, if you were by yourself, you probably wouldn't go down them with a gun. But anyway, when I seen the 4 or 5 lads stood there, I thought to myself, this is it, we're definitely going to be done. We're going to lose any money we have here and maybe get the bikes taken off us as well. But look, in fairness, they were 100%. There was no bother with them at all. They were just having trouble finding the B&B themselves. So after a minute or two back up on the bikes, and he brought us down this alleyway here to where the actual B&B was. Now, to be honest, from the outside it wasn't looking very promising at all. I didn't know what to expect when the door finally opened. But look, in fairness, everything was 100%. The only thing I'll say is them guys that brought us down showed us the way. Like, fair play to them, we probably would never found it otherwise. But hands out all the time. They're looking for money, and no matter how much you give them, it's never enough to want more. Look, I suppose it's just the way over there. They look at us as rich tourists, and a couple of quid to us is probably a lot more to them. So look, if you are heading over there, bring small change or small notes with you, because everyone over there has to hand out. And look, I don't blame them for it either. If they probably need the money, and we're just easy pickings for them at the end of the day. So after eventually getting to the Airbnb, we obviously couldn't park the bikes in the alleyway outside, so we had to go back up to town again to a paid car park. Now, the owner of the house met us up there, and he did a deal with the guy that owned the car park. We ended up paying 4 quid each for overnight parking, which was secure as well, so it was a good thing. Look, the video is starting to run on a bit longer than I wanted it to. We made our way back to the B&B. Now, I can't say enough about it. It was excellent. The owner prepared a meal for us that night, and everything was top class. Look, I'll talk a bit more about it in the next video. But to be honest, we had the meal there that night, and after that we went out for a walk in the town itself and just sat out on a street corner and had a coffee. Now, sitting on the street corner, you'd be poisoned with fumes because there was that many mopeds going up and down, and look, the place was just teeming with life. So it was a highly enjoyable day. Really enjoyed it. It just shows you a different way of life altogether. Anyway, look, I'm going to finish up the video here, and I'll see you in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe if you can, it just helps out the channel. Okay, thanks for watching.